fantasy universe, you are looking live at fantasypoints.com and the 2-point stance. Welcome in, everybody. I am Brian Drake. You can follow me on Twitter at Drake Fantasy. We got a big show for you today. Big time, because we're talking Super Bowl and we're talking betting. So I bring in my co-host, Joe Dolan. You follow him at FG_Dolan. Joe, we've got a special guest here. We know him lovingly as the Grinder, but this is a guy who's going to help us win some cash on Super Bowl Sunday. Introduce our very special guest, if you may.
Tom, who's a much bigger radio star than either you or I, because he hops on John Hanson's morning show and he gets Tom, who is that? You get Judas Priest? Is that
Judas Priest playing the Grinder. Yep. Every Thursday morning.
Get the intro music. That's Tom Brolley, who's our head of betting content over at fantasypoints.com. Also was in my wedding, a good friend of mine. So we're bros. And here's what we're going to talk about today. Drake, I'll let you introduce it. You are the host, Drake, so I'll let you introduce it. But we're going to be talking not just prop betting on this show, but a way for you to involve everybody at your Super Bowl party in a prop bet contest that's way more interactive and way more fun, though I guess not as easy to run as the old Super Bowl Squares pool.
Absolutely. And in the show notes, guys, if you're on our YouTube page, and why aren't you, just search Fantasy Points on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Look in the show description. I've got links in there for you. One will link you back to the fantasypoints.com article. The other will link you to our show contest. And it's going to be such a fun time here. Let me read the rules to you guys, what we're going to do here. So there's a number of questions. I think there's 36 questions in all. Yeah. And what you're going to do is answer each question once.
You're going to have to book out 2 hours to fill out this form. You know, you got to really dive in there, dig in, study up. 36 questions. This is not your average quiz from back in high school.
And we're going to have Joe putting his professor hat on. He's going to be grading these things.
Yeah, I am. So let me introduce this just the way, this is something that literally, Tom, I found our first one. It was for Super Bowl 50. You and I were like, we're going to a Super Bowl party. What's a way to involve prop bets, for the party and people can be interested? And we decided to put together this contest. Now, there is one thing that makes our contest a little bit different than some of the ones out there, not all of them. But Tom, when we were putting this together, we realized, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of the places that do these prop bet contests just have either or. And it's whoever gets the most questions right. But if anybody who does prop bets obviously knows, not every outcome is an equal weight outcome. That's why you bet props that are, Tom, you're going to talk maybe about a long shot prop that you like for the Super Bowl. That's why you bet props that are 40-1 because it's fun. For the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl, I won safety to be the first score of the game at 60-1. So you can't just say, I'm going to pick safety to be the first score of the game and get 1 point. That's not what we do. We assign different point levels to these questions. So Tom goes in and Tom, talk about your process. You go through and you basically take the odds using the implied odds and you translate that to a point value for the contest.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you do any kind of pari-mutuel betting where you're betting on the ponies. There's a favorite. You're not. You bet a little bit, you bet $10 on that. And if they're plus 100, you're only going to get a $10 return. But if you bet the long shot, who's 50-1, you put that $10 down, you make $500 off of that. So that was the thought process on it. Hey, let's reward people for taking shots on, the more difficult props. And that also helps us to, put more long shots into this betting system. So, I look at the odds and I come up with the point system, based on the odds of the outcomes actually happening. So if you want to play it safe and take all 1 point questions on all 36, there's a chance you might do pretty decent and you'll finish in the top 15, the top 10, top 15%, but you're probably unlikely to win the poll. you're going to have to take a couple shots. You got to take your shots somewhere with this type of system. So
it's like betting in the tournament pool. Sometimes, you got to pick a long shot. You got to pick that 15 to upset a 2 to move on to win that office pool. So the winners of this contest, you're going to accumulate the most points. So you want to take some of those calculated risks on some of the lower likelihood events. For instance, if you get 1 8-point answer correctly, that obviously is equivalent to 8 1-point answers correctly. So guys, why are we talking about this? Because we are going to give away a fantasypoints.com subscription to one of the listeners of this show, the 2 Point Stance. We love you. We thank you. You're following us here on YouTube. You're listening to the podcast, wherever podcasts are found. And what exactly does that entail, Joe?
Okay, so first and foremost, here's what we're going to do. Number one, we are giving away 1 Fantasy Point subscription. We're also giving away 2 and 3 Fantasy Point subscriptions. So for the top 3 finishers in the contest, by the way, it is linked in the show notes down below on YouTube. It's a Google form. All you do, you put in your email address, you put in your name, and you fill out a Google form like a multiple choice test. And each question has a point value. And then I'm going to grade them early next week. The top 3 point finishers will get a Fantasy Point subscription. The first place finisher will get an all access subscription. You'll get everything we have to offer. For those of you who finish second and third, you get a Fantasy Point standard subscription for free. If you're already a standard subscriber, we upgrade you to premium. And if you already have premium because you're taking advantage of our super,
you get Adam Kaplan's home phone number.
Yeah, I'll give you Adam Kaplan's home phone number. That's exactly right.
I have an additional. If you finish in dead last, you take all the long shots and they all miss. I'll give you this Antonio Brown signed autograph picture here. So only if you want it. Only if you want it. But if you finish in dead last, I'll give you that. So
where'd you get that?
That was so my mother works for she volunteers at St. Vincent de Paul, and she gets some random stuff taken into the St. Vincent de Paul sometimes. And she will not be putting an Antonio Brown autograph up for sale at St. Vincent de Paul. So she always gives me any leftover funny Pittsburgh memorabilia.
So the booby prize is an Antonio Brown autograph, one of the greatest fantasy receivers of all time.
Oh
God. There you
go. And now disgraced.
Let's say, guys, you don't win any of those prizes, but you still want to get in over at fantasypoints.com because we've got incredible content just from the Senior Bowl this week. Brett Whitefield and the guys. You want the guru, John Hansen's rankings. You want the grinder, Tom Brolley's content all season long. Scott Barrett, Graham Barfield, the cast of thousands at fantasypoints.com. Well, we're still giving you 30% off until Super Bowl Sunday. Lock in your fantasypoints.com subscription. Folks, this is not brain surgery. 30% off. In this day and age, this economy, save yourself some money. Go get that early bird special at fantasypoints.com. All right, what do you guys say we get into some of these and give our opinion of what's going to happen?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we put this together. Might as well, I hope nobody copies my answers. Although I will say, I put this together for the last 8 years. I don't think I've ever finished in the top 3 in this poll. So the brains behind the poll, has never won. So maybe you want to go the opposite of what I'm doing this week.
I've got to do better than on my Grammy projections because I didn't know a single person nominated for any award. All right, let's go. Length of the National Anthem by Chris Stapleton. I've heard of him. I don't know any of his music, but I've heard of Chris Stapleton.
Yes, you do. You know some of his music. There is no way you haven't heard Tennessee Whiskey. There is no chance you haven't heard that song.
It's funny that I'm a whiskey salesman also.
Yeah.
There you go. He's country. He's broken into the mainstream.
He has a good hat, I believe.
Yes, he's got a fantastic hat.
All right. So under 125 seconds, that's 204.5. That'll get you a point or over. So really, you're just playing over under here. It's not going to get you a big advantage. Over 1 point, under is 1 point. Have you guys done any research? Have you gone on YouTube and looked up Chris Stapleton and seen some of his other national anthems? Tom, I feel like you've done this.
I've done a little bit of. I just looked at. I have the results from the last couple of years here. We've had a run of 3 out of the last 4 years where it's been an over. Now, if you're looking, you're thinking, country guy. Eric Church was a couple years ago. He was an over. That was with Jasmine Sullivan. They did over 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Looking back, Luke Bryan was right around here at 2:04, same time in Super Bowl 51. That was an under. So if you're looking for the classification of a country singer, we have a couple different results here in recent years.
And let me also tell you how they score this. It is not from when music starts. It is from the first vocal note to the last vocal note.
So if you do a Christina Aguilera, vocal gymnastics of they're going to start the clock.
This is like, honestly, the funniest part is like, this is like the most stressful bet. Like, because you're sitting there at the beginning, and then like, who was it? Was it Gladys Knight last year? She started real quick, and then like
people
really
slow it down.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, so Chris Stapleton. Normally, Tom, I will say it kind of feels like Friday, Saturday, sometimes even Sunday morning. There starts to be a little like move when people inside the building hear the sound check or something like that.
This has been one that leaks a little bit in recent years. This is why a lot of the stateside books, they're not allowed to list this. It actually has to be a competition on the field for it to be graded. But I think it was the Super Bowl down in Tampa Bay. I think it was the Eric Church one. There was just some random news reporter outside of Raymond James, and he just recorded it. He, and he had a clock on it, and it was over the a lot of time. So yeah, there's a chance that information might leak out on this one. So you might want to, we always, if you have time on Sunday to fill out the prop sheet, maybe it's best then, because maybe you'll get a little bit of insider information on some of these, at least these artist performance type of props.
I'm going with the under. Joe, how about you?
I feel like Stapleton's a no nonsense guy. Under.
Yeah. I don't want to be in agreement here all across the board, but I have to. I don't think Stapleton's going to really drag this out.
All right, we won't do every single one on here, guys. Right? We'll just kind of pick and choose, or do you want to do every one?
I will say, let me point one out, because Tom sent me the sheet. I was at the Bruce Springsteen concert last Friday night, and I was literally inside State Farm Arena when Tom sent the first run through of the sheet. For number 2, coach shown first during the national anthem. Tom, for the last 5 years, we've had this one. And I'm pretty sure 2 years, and Tom sent me the original, and it was Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni split screen. And I said, Tom, I really think we've no action this 3 years in a row. They didn't show any coach during the national anthem, not during the broadcast, during the national anthem. So I had to throw a neither option in there.
I like it.
Yeah, so maybe that's a little bit of a hint to people who are listening. The neither has won the last couple of years, and honestly, it wasn't even an option for us.
We haven't. Yeah, it's been a no action. So I like your additional little choice there. Yeah, I would like to have multiple choice in a lot of these, but we do like to ease into it right at the beginning. That's why we have the over/under on the national anthem. We have the coin toss. Everybody loves the coin toss. That's the one of the first one that everybody can get behind. So. But yeah, that one, the coaches one, they like to show a lot of the singers and a lot of the players, and we just haven't seen a lot of the coaches on screen during the national anthem for some reason.
I will take Andy Reid in that. I think they will show both. I think they go Big Red first.
That
I would agree.
I would agree, because you have the factor him being a former Eagles coach there. You think that he's going to be probably getting a little bit more of the publicity this week. So. And he's the more notable coach as well.
Sure.
Sirianni's certainly had a great season here, one of the front runners for the coach of the year. But everybody knows Andy Reid. So I agree with you there. Maybe Andy Reid is the lean there on that one.
People love betting the coin toss. I don't know why, but they do. Tails never fails. I'm sure there is a great story. You can go back and look up the history of Super Bowl coin tosses. I'm going to take tails on this.
I'm a tails guy as well.
I'll go heads because everybody picks tails. That's my,
either way, they're deferring to the second half.
Yeah,
so.
Actually, the last 2 have been heads.
I have it up here. 4 out of the last 5 have been heads. So it's
tails is due.
Tails is due. That's right. If you are looking to bet the heads or tails, I would recommend going to DraftKings and not some of these other books. They are offering plus 100 on both sides. So if you're one of those types of people that needs to have some action on the coin toss right out of the gates. Make sure you go to a book that's offering plus 100 on both sides.
Now, this next question, number 4 on the score sheet, again, go over to our show notes. It's on fantasypoints.com. You can get the prop bet sheet. Number 4 is really interesting, and this is a way you can differentiate yourself if your number hits. First accepted penalty. So you get a 3-pointer for like an offsides, neutral zone, false start, one of those deals. 3 points for holding or illegal block. Then we start kicking it up a notch. Unnecessary roughness gets you 6 points. A PI is 8. Intentional grounding, delay a game is a 10-pointer. I love taking that 10-pointer, delay a game. Maybe early on, there's some crowd noise, some jitters. I think that's a great way to differentiate yourself. I think pass interference is almost one you have to take also.
I think everybody's going to take pass interference here because they're going to be like, well, both of these teams like to throw the ball, like I think that's what everybody's going to take. And this time, very often, this one almost decides the pool. Tom, I think it was a couple years ago, that shitty Rams Patriots game where like there was no action on half of these things because the game was so bad that like I think somebody who entered the pool picked like pass interference and nobody else scored any points because the game was so bad. And
I think that was an intentional ground. Wasn't there one year Brady had an intentional grounding where he threw it to the middle of the field really
that was against
early?
The Giants in Super Bowl 46 because
that was
one of the
you're right.
that was one of the Super Bowls where safety was the first point scored.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Because he caught it in the end zone, yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you there, guys. But holding, illegal block, and not as many points. But if there's any kind of return on the first play, that's a good opportunity for that to happen. We see, we saw at the end of the Cincinnati-Kansas City game where we have a play that goes out of bounds and unnecessary roughness. So it can go a number of ways here. But yeah, pass interference might be an interesting way to go, especially if Kansas City might get the ball first.
Yeah, I've seen some great stats on Philadelphia, by the way. Since week 18, they've had 95 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures, 0 sacks allowed. And also, it might be since Sirianni gave up his play calling. I want to say Jeff McClain, maybe the Philadelphia Inquirer wrote this, is since Sirianni gave up his play calling duties, the Eagles have not had to burn a timeout for not having a play, like a delay of game coming down the line. So
that's a related prop here a little further down the board, number 8.
I like that. So, all right, here we go. Player to score the first touchdown. Eagles wide receiver, running back, that'll get you 3 points. Eagles tight end QB, 3.5. I like that lean a lot with the way Jalen Hurts can run the football. You get the same 3.5 points for Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs RB and wide receiver. If either team's defense or special team scores the first points, you get 8 points there. Which Joe, you going to get a little frisky here and maybe go defense?
So Super Bowl 50, the first time we ran this pool for our friends, the Denver defense scored the first touchdown. That was a pool decider. You remember that, Tom? That ugly Panthers Broncos game. So you want to take a calculated risk with some of these. Now, if you take all the risks, you might hit 1 or 2, but if you're giving away easy points, it really becomes an interesting strategy. I would like to see what happens if somebody were to take all the big money ones and just set.
They end up with Antonio Brown.
Yeah, and end up with AB, or end up with the premium subscription. So,
that's right. There's no middle ground, maybe. Yeah, I like that. Go big or go home. There is what you're saying.
Yeah, like whenever I play in a playoff contest, I'm like, I want to finish first or last. I don't want to finish in the middle. Like when I'm doing playoff fantasy, like finishing in the middle doesn't get you anything. Drake, I think most people's first instance here is going to lean to Eagles quarterback tight end because of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think by the book, Kelce is the slight favorite to be the first touchdown scorer, but Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders are like neck and neck. And second play, I think it's plus 650 and they're plus 700. But if you take the wide receiver there, you also get AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. You only have another out with Dallas Goedert with the tight end. So I tried to balance them there. But yeah, that's why they're all pretty equal. We don't typically see that, but the top of the first touchdown odds board is pretty even across it with Kelsey, Sanders, and Jalen Hurts at the very top.
I like question number 7. What will happen first? It's only a 1-pointer either way, a sack or a touchdown, because these quarterbacks run around a lot. So you could get technically a sack, right? If the guy maybe, we see it all the time with these, so they run out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage or something like that. And, I think this Eagles pass rush is going to get all up in Patrick Mahomes' business. So I would take sack on what will happen first, sack or touchdown.
Both of these teams stack the quarterback. Both of these teams score a lot of touchdowns. So even odds here is about right. Oh, Drake, let me throw this out here to everybody, by the way. If you're not looking at the YouTube, which does have which we do have a visual of the questions, I also threw in a PDF into the Fantasy Points article so you can run this pool at your Super Bowl party. I threw a PDF in. T-Bro and I will get an answer key up Monday or Tuesday, and then you can pay out at your Super Bowl party. It'll be a lot of fun. You can score it yourself as well. But some of these ones, like we're going to get to the Rihanna one, some of them you might need a little bit of a close call from the gambling books.
That Rihanna one. Don't ask me to score that one.
Yeah, I don't even know most of the songs, so I'm pretty out of touch. I know the favorite though, so that's Please Don't Stop the Music. I even know that one.
I watched the replay of Prince's Purple Rain from the thunderstorm at the Super Bowl a few years ago. God, that was fantastic. All right.
That's why we did add an addendum on that question. That's question 13. Which of these we changed it so which of these songs is played first? We always used to have it worded just what song is played first, and then I think one of the years one of the songs in the field didn't actually get played, so that's why it's the songs in the field here. So that's why we word that question a little bit differently on number 13.
All right. Question number 8. Team to call the first timeout in the game. Nobody uses timeouts as frivolously as Andy Reid early in a game. This is a slam dunk. Pick the Chiefs, get the point.
Yep. And you had that note about, no delay of games here recently for the Eagles. So that's why this is usually one that I weight pretty evenly. That's a 1 for one side, 1 point for one side, and 1 for the other. But this year it's a little different with Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni involved. So I'm kind of with you there. I'll probably lean towards the Chiefs getting that point.
All right, first player to throw an interception. Mahomes gets you 1.5 points. Jalen Hurts for 2 points. No interceptions is good for 3 points. And any other player, maybe there's a halfback option pass or some kind of weirdo play, that'll get you 10. I'm not sure we see that broken out in the Super Bowl. You think we see another Philly special from the Birds this year?
I really hope they don't do it, just because it feels like it's destined to fail if they do. It feels like it. I mean, if they do it and it works, it might be the biggest freaking hog swinging move of all time. But I really don't think the Eagles are going to pull out a Philly special in this game.
You don't want to see Kenny Gainwell flip to Jack Stoll and throw it back across to Jalen Hurts or maybe Gardner Minshew.
The thing about the Philly special is Trey Burton was a quarterback in college.
Yeah.
So he was an accomplished passer, or not to an NFL level, but I don't know if they have that guy on the team right now. So anyway,
Nick Foles looked like a wide receiver too. I mean, he could no. But this one's interesting one. That's always a prop this time of year is, will there be over 2.5 players that attempt to pass in the Super Bowl? And looking at it this year, these are two teams that they don't use a lot of trickery, a lot of guys throwing outside passes. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but when you got Patrick Mahomes on one side, why would you have Travis Kelce throwing a pass whenever you have Patrick Mahomes that can do it just fine? So
you never know. You never know.
That's why it's tricky. You never expect it, but these are two teams that really haven't pulled out those type of plays too much this season.
A couple of questions then about some challenges and replays. The result of the first coach's challenge, booth review doesn't count. Will it be overturned? If it stands, you get 1.5 points, or if there's no coach's challenges, you get 2 points. I don't think that we're going to get the no coaches challenge. I think If I'm going to bet on this, guys, I'm going to say the play stands. There's a lot of cameras here at the Super Bowl. I mean, you can get an angle on everything. I don't know. I think I'm going to stay with the play stands.
Yeah, and then the booth review doesn't count for obvious reasons for this, because you have to imagine if the booth initiates the review, it probably has a better chance of being overturned. So that's why we'd go with booth review doesn't count for these.
Yeah, I've been waiting. I'm actually kind of waiting to see if other books have one. DraftKings has a similar prop to this. It's at plus 110 for the play to basically stand, for the coach to lose the first challenge. With these expedited reviews that they've been, coaches have been doing now, not that the coaches have been doing, the officials from New York, the command center, wherever they're at, they've been taking a lot of the obvious challenges out of the picture here. So that's why I'm thinking the play stands might be a pretty good bet in the prop sheet. And I'm waiting to see if maybe it does come out maybe a little bit higher. It was plus 110 at DraftKings. I'm hoping maybe one of these other books puts out a similar prop, and maybe it's a little bit higher, because I think I was looking at the numbers. I don't have them in front of me either, but I think Sirianni's like 2 out of 6, or and Andy Reid, he'll have the frivolous timeouts and the frivolous challenges as well. So yeah, I'm with you there with the play stands at 1.5.
I think you have to take the yes on question 12, which is, will any touchdowns be overturned by replay, meaning they're taken off the board? A no is only 1 point, but a yes is 2.5. And we see that a lot in the NFL. Guy doesn't get a foot down, or we think he's in and he didn't cross the line. I'm going to lean yes. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, this is one where I typically say put yes for this one. Maybe I should go with the opposite this year, because I can't remember the last time this happened in the Super Bowl. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people are going to say yes to this particular question. So you also have to try to like get in people's heads and differentiate yourself. You're like, well, that one seems really possible for 2.5 points. So maybe I'll just go and maybe take the easy 1 point answer.
Yeah, that's good thinking. That's an angle that people don't really look about. At these polls, it's sometimes you got to play it like DFS. You want to go away from the obvious answers here. So yeah, maybe I will go for the no here with 1 point. But yeah, 2.5 points for a touchdown overturn. We do think there's going to be a lot of points in this one. 50.5 is now the total. So there could be 6 or 7 touchdowns in this game. So there could be some opportunities, so it could go either way on this one. But maybe I'll go with the no there to go away from the herd, Joe.
You're listening to the 2 Point Stance podcast, part of fantasypoints.com. I'm Brian Drake alongside Joe Dolan and our special guest, Tom Brolley. We may look like 3 Swifties, but we also get into the Rihanna business here, and this next few questions are about the halftime performer herself. Which of these songs, Joe, is played first? Please Don't Stop the Music, This Is What I Came For, Diamond. I don't even know any of these songs. I act like I used to be a radio
Definitely
DJ.
know
This
Umbrella.
You know Umbrella.
Yeah.
You think Umbrella? Okay, I got that one. Where have you been and stayed? By the way, Joe, did you get the text when you sang Fleetwood Mac on our opening show? And then I was driving around and it came up on my SiriusXM dashboard, and I screenshotted it and sent it to you.
Yes, I did get that text. A little bit of serendipity. By the way, we added this little disclaimer to this question because a couple of years ago, The Weeknd performed, and if you'll remember, the choir started singing a song before The Weeknd came on stage. And I think, Tom, you and I and the books determined that the first song that The Weeknd himself performed was actually the winner. But I wanted to clear up some confusion there. If Rihanna comes out to one of her songs that's on this list, and it's just like
sing it.
The beat of the song, she has got to be performing the song herself. She has got to be singing it. So that clears up any confusion.
This question has been a pain in our butts over the years. So we've added all kinds of addendums to this question. I think we finally nailed it down, by making it confined to this field question, which of these songs is played first, and where the artist actually has to sing it. So this is one that's moved a lot. Bet Online is kind of the offshore book that has lines for these. There's been a lot of money on Don't Stop the Music. That was a plus 500 on Friday when I initially did this prop sheet, and now it's minus 140 to be the first song. So I think there might be some inside information on that one.
Do you have a favorite Rihanna song, gentlemen?
Oh, I gotta go Umbrella because that's one of the only ones I know.
She's a popular New York.
And Brolley is an umbrella in England, so
yes,
I gotta go with my namesake here.
Get your Brolley out. I always love that tweet. I
can start calling you Tom Rihanna then.
Exactly.
Rihanna is a popular New York Times crossword puzzle answer because her fans call her Riri. Like RIRI, and it fits very nicely in the corners of a crossword puzzle. So there you go. If you got
mind,
Riri, yeah. There you go.
I love that you guys even threw in an outfit primary color. Will it be black or other?
Yeah, well, we got to get the women involved in this. They love the halftime special, so I try to get a couple of the halftime questions in there. Might not be for us guys that watch like all 285 games.
During
the season.
Rihanna's so hard to look at.
That's true.
Yeah, like
that's true.
Remember our boy Geiger with Shakira.
Oh, Rihanna's no Shakira, but I think she'll do.
Who's kicking the longest field goal here, guys? Is it Harrison Butker for a point, or is it Jake Elliott for 1.5? Or do they tie and maybe there's no field goals? I'm going to say I'm giving it to Big Leg Jake.
Yeah, I like going for that extra half a point too.
Yeah, it's an extra half a point, but you also have to keep in mind Nick Sirianni is incredibly aggressive on fourth downs.
That's true too. That's why it's weighted a little bit.
Especially if it's like
they will go for those fourth and shorts if it's say at the 30-yard line and it's 4th and 2. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Hurts keep the ball in those types of situations. So yeah, that's why that is weighted a little bit more towards the Eagles on that one.
Which leads us to our next question. The shortest touchdown of the game. Is it under 1.5 yards for a point or over 1.5 yards for 1.5 points? If the Eagles did a QB sneak on back-to-back plays in the NFC title game, literally from like the 3-yard line. I couldn't believe they were running the sneak from there. They ran it. They didn't get it. And they said, damn it, we're doing it again. And they scored. So they might do it from the 50 on Sunday. It wouldn't shock me at all. What do you guys think? What are we going to get for the shortest touchdown?
With the Eagles' propensity to sneak the ball, under's the best bet here. Yeah, like with getting it down to the 1, under's the best bet.
I agree. Yeah, nothing more to add there. They'll finish the job at the 1-yard line. So let's go with under 1.5. That's one I always take anyway. That it seems that I don't have the numbers in front of me on that one, but it seems like under 1.5 is usually the winner on that one.
All right, let me skip around here. Are we going to get any defensive penalties? Geez. Defensive touchdowns.
I think so.
So are we going to get any defensive touchdowns, special team scores, or safeties? You get 3 points for a yes on this and only 1 for a no.
We've had a couple safeties since we've been running this poll. Yeah. and Joe, as you said, to lead off a game, we had that nice prop at 50-1 on that one for the first score of the game to be a safety. So we have seen some defensive touchdowns, special teams touchdowns and safeties, but I'm going to kind of go no on this one. We got 2 quarterbacks that are going to take care of the ball. Might have to be a fumble or something kind of weird. So I'm going to lean towards the no on that one.
Joe, I love this one. This one screams Tom Brolley all day long. Question 20.
Yeah.
Who will have more? And again, there's no action on this, and you'll find out why if something happens. Number 1, Travis Kelce catches. So what will happen more? Travis Kelce catches or Rory McIlroy birdies or better in the final round of the Waste Management Open, which is also happening Sunday in Phoenix. Now, there's no action on this if Rory misses the cut. So is there a chance here, guys, that you can really get over on people who maybe don't follow golf? Or is there a chance? I think Travis Kelce catches 7-8 balls in this game. Do you think he can make 7 or 8 birdies in that final round?
So here's a little story with this question. First and foremost, this is a jinx and a half because I can't tell you how many times we've had this question and the golfer in question did not make the cut. Number 2, here is one. You can get a little bit of an edge. If Rory makes the cut and isn't like a leader, and he's teeing off early on Sunday, you could wait a little bit. Ooh, is Rory hot? Like, ooh, he's made a push. He's got 6 birdies in the first 12 holes. I'm going to take Rory and maybe the Eagles. So, like, there's a little gamesmanship you can have with this one, too.
Yeah, we've really had trouble I think it was like the first 5 or 6 years. I think we've had much better luck in the last year.
And we even just, like, started getting better with golfers. Like, it was just like,
we always use Ricky Fowler.
we always use Ricky, and he always missed the damn cut. Oh, except he won the damn thing a couple of years ago.
Yes, he did. Like the year after we took him off the question, I think.
Bubba Watson, forget it, missed cut. We had Phil Mickelson one year, missed cut. Like we just kept going with like good golfers, and they were all missing cuts. But anyway,
I'm going to put all my money this week on Rory to make the cut. I don't see Rory McIlroy missing too many cuts, so I'm gonna put my money on that. But I like Rory in this one. We've seen this tournament that it can be a birdie fest on Sunday. They set it up where you can really get after it. So I'll go with the extra 1.5. Maybe the birds can shut down Kelsey a little bit.
I love these next 2 questions. It's very straight to the point. Who's going to score more PPR fantasy points? Question 21, it's Travis Kelce or it's A.J. Brown. And in question 22, it's Miles Sanders and Isaiah Pacheco. So I don't know if this has any, lean on the game at all, but Travis Kelce,
fantasy question in it.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, A.J. Brown. Who's going to score more fantasy points in this game? I think this is a big Devonta Smith game, but it depends. If they play a lot of man, I also think A.J. Brown can just eat in this contest against that young secondary. But we're talking props here. So Travis Kelce, and I just said he's going to catch 8 balls, or A.J. Brown, who I think could score 2 touchdowns. Oh, boy. I'm giving it to Kelce.
Yeah, he's rightfully favored here. The Sanders-Pacheco one's interesting. That could be decided by a touchdown. So I think that's a particularly interesting one. I think my favorite prop of the entire thing is coming up here soon, though. Brolley threw in a really nice prop here.
Oh, you like that? I try to come up with one that's kind of like
storyline for the game. Yeah,
exactly. I worked it in there. So
that would be question 24. A.J. Brown receiving yards. Is it closer to Jason Kelce's jersey number of 62 or Travis Kelce's jersey number of 87?
That is a fantastic prop. That's a fan. Is that one out of book, Tom? Or did you?
No, I just came up with it. I was just looking for it. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, I got to get the Kelce's into the prop pool here at some point. And I was like, let's do something with their jersey number. So I was looking for something that might be around, 70 to 75 in terms of a player prop. So AJ Brown's number is out there, about 73.5. It's a little bit shaded towards Kelce, but I know how these props work. Everybody's going to come in and bet AJ Brown towards game day. So his number is probably going to be up 74.5, 75.5 by game day. So I figure that's right in that range where you can go. If he's going to have a down game, you go with Jason Kelce. If he's going to have an up game, you go with Travis Kelce with 87. So I have a little bit of fun with that prop.
And we have all sorts of great props in here too, guys. Who's going to score the most rushing yards, the most receiving yards? That's all the stuff you would generally think anytime you're betting a prop. Here's one I really like, Joe, as we're getting near the end. Final play of the game. Is it a kneel down for a point, any other non-scoring play, or a field goal, touchdown, or extra point, which is worth 6 points? So are we walking it off?
Right.
Or kneeling it down?
This was a Dolan invention last year. I was like, I wanted to throw another question in there, and this one was like, essentially, is there going to be a walk-off? Kneel down is, of course, the favorite, but man, if you think this is going to be a close game, having a field goal or a touchdown is the last play of the game. Maybe Tom, I think you like the odds, like just based on the implied odds of this game going to overtime.
I did. I was just about to bring that up. There's a nice prop on FanDuel. It was plus 1360 at the end of last week. I think it's been bet down a little bit. That implies basically a 7% chance of overtime in the game. Just looking at numbers from the last 2 years, games have gone to overtime about 7.5% of games. We have a total a spread in this game that's 1.5. So I think we're probably going to see some more Chiefs money, I think, closer to kickoff here. I think people are going to jump on Patrick Mahomes if the injury report's good for the Chiefs. So I do think it could get close to a pick'em game in this one. So I think maybe if we get overtime, we're going to have we'll have to end on a scoring play, field goal, touchdown, PAT. Maybe we need to add safety in there. Any kind of scoring play for that last play at 6. So I'm going to root for overtime. So maybe I'm going to go with that 6-pointer.
Oh my gosh, I'll have a heart attack in this game.
Yeah, sorry guys.
There's all, who's going to cover the spread, the total points, but nobody cares about that. Joe, they want to know the color of the Gatorade that's going on a coach. And I remember the Eagles, I believe in the NFC Championship game, it was orange.
No.
No, it wasn't orange. I thought I saw Lane Johnson and AJ Brown, they had an orange one on.
Oh, no, I've done my reconnaissance on this one. That was yellow, green, or lime, I'm pretty sure. That was Lane and Fletcher Cox, I believe, pouring it on Sirianni.
I must have. Maybe they hit somebody else with one.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that adds a little wrinkle to it that they have multiple Kellers on the bench there. So I looked it up, and I looked it up for the Chiefs as well because we know they've been in the Super Bowl here recently, and they were an orange team. That's why I have the yellow, green, and lime. Eagles are slight favorites here, so that's why it's 2 points. Orange is 2.5 because that's been the Keller of choice for them. We know these teams are all superstitious. We want to drink the same Gatorade. We want to give our coach the same Gatorade baths. So that's why those two are the favorites in this one.
All right. Lastly, guys, there's more questions, but we'll keep this concise. Who is the Super Bowl MVP? Is it Jalen Hurts for 1.5? Mahomes is 1.5. And you get the A.J. Brown, Travis Kelce for 6. Any other Eagle is 7. Any other Chief not listed is 9. I'm going to give you my answer. He was activated from injured reserve today. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is winning this prop because...
Move over, Pacheco.
If the Eagles lose the Super Bowl because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the MVP, I am going to jump off a building. So let's just put it that way.
Who do you guys like for the MVP?
Well, I mean, my favorite long shot is Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, I like that.
I have a little bit of money on that one.
If there's honestly, the other Eagle not listed is interesting because Drake, you think it's a Devontae Smith game. There are some good Eagles because AJ Brown is listed in this question. Yeah. So if it's Devontae Smith, you might think the Eagles. I was reading Sheil Kapadia over at the Ringer today about, the Chiefs' run defense and the Eagles' ability to just hey, if all else fails, if Jalen's shoulder isn't looking great, we can just pound the shit out of the ball. Maybe Miles Sanders wins the MVP. So I kind of like that other Eagle not listed. But of course, here's the other problem with this: you have to pick the winner of the football game.
True.
Yeah, I kind of like the Kelce Brown one. You get 2 good players here. I think there's been the last 10 years, we've seen 4 players that haven't been quarterbacks win it. We saw Cooper Kupp do it last year with 2 touchdowns and 8 catches, 92 yards. So we've seen some of these big time receivers do it. And I do have a little bit of money on Travis Kelce. He's a plus 1,600 on FanDuel to be the MVP. We've seen him have some blow up games. 14 catches against the Jaguars a couple weeks ago. 4 touchdown catch game on Monday Night Football earlier this season. So
take this one because you get a player from each team.
Yeah, that's why I was tinkering around with the points on this one. I had to lower it a little bit because you do have 2 options. You get a guy from each team, so maybe that spreads it out. But
that's a really good point.
Whenever you're filling out the prop sheet, you do want to have a narrative in mind. It's like these same game parlays. You want to kind of correlate the stuff that you have. So maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe if you lean real heavily towards the Eagles side, you just keep loading up on all Eagle stuff. But I do like having that option of, either Brown or Kelce blowing up in this game and get 6 points for that one.
All right, guys, we're getting out of here. Can I get your Super Bowl prediction? Our guest, Mr. Tom Brolley, follow him on Twitter at Tom Brolley. Does great work over at fantasypoints.com. Who's winning the Super Bowl, Tom?
All right, I'm about to get booted off here. I have the Chiefs. I grabbed them plus 2.5.
Nice knowing you, Tom. Thanks for your time.
All right, I'm out of here.
Here's my prediction. I'm going to make a complete ass of myself at my house.
Are you having guests over this year?
Yeah, I'm going to try to drink a little less than last time.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, the Eagles have, like, the nice thing about the Eagles is they have had 2 completely stress-free playoff games.
That's true.
I mean,
you were doing the celebratory drinking by the third quarter in the first 2 games.
Nothing more than, like, the Eagles to do to Mahomes what the Bucks did to him a couple years ago.
Yes.
And just, like, pressure the hell out of him, and he can't do it all by himself. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think I cannot pick against the Eagles. I can't do it. But I do predict that I am going to be in intestinal distress during this game. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'll make that prediction too, Joe, that this will not be an easy one like the first 2 playoff games.
Yeah. I say the Eagles win. They actually end up winning by 10. When all else fails, the Eagles lean on the run game and they run it down people's throats and they take 8-9 minutes off the clock. And I think that's what they will end up doing in the second half here because they'll realize, maybe everything's not working the way we want it to. And, then I will spend all the money I win in this pool on Eagles Super Bowl jerseys and shirts for my kids after the game. But a lot of fun here, guys. Remember, go over to fantasypoints.com. Check out the show notes. We've got it listed in there. You can click the link. There, Joe has a PDF you can fill out at your home party. We're giving away subscriptions here to our listeners. So the link is in the show notes. If you want to win, we're giving away 3 top prizes here, 3 levels of fantasypoints.com subscriptions. And if you're the butt-naked last place, you're getting a signed Antonio Brown. It's actually very nice. Framed Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's already pre-framed. I mean, it's perfect.
Wow, you don't even have to get it framed. Yeah, it's like on Pawn Stars. I got to put it in a frame.
No,
like
already handled.
Yeah, did someone do like 8 lines of coke off that in a Pittsburgh Goodwill?
Yeah,
or something?
like if you bring the if on Pawn Stars you bring the original Declaration of Independence in there, and he's like, well, this is worth $75 billion, but I got to put it in a frame. I got to list it for auction. I'll give you $400 for it. The Antonio Brown booby prize is already framed.
I
there
love
you go,
it, folks.
I mean, that's all the incentive to enter the contest now. Yeah, just go for all the long shots, and if you miss and you strike out, you get the booby prize.
All right. Remember also, get over to fantasypoints.com. The 30% off early bird special ends on Super Bowl Sunday. You don't want to miss that. You know you're going to need all the fantasy advice for the upcoming season. Get it for 30% off right now. No promo code needed. fantasypoints.com. I can't beat it into your head enough, folks. This was a lot of fun, Tom. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck, everybody out there in fantasy land. And we'll see you next week when I'll have my Eagles Super Bowl champion t-shirt on. All right, guys, take care. Good luck at the Super Bowl.